Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Insightful Conversations with your host, Krishna Radha. Today, we have a truly special guest on the show, Avikal Costantino. Avikal grew up in an upper middle class Italian family surrounded by culture, beauty, care, and support. By all appearances, it was a happy childhood, and yet, even as a child, he carried a distinct sense of separation from the whole. There was a quiet melancholy in him, a deep sensitivity and awareness that made him perceive life as it is, unfiltered and intense. This awareness was both a gift and a challenge. It gave him clarity, but it also made him feel like a misfit in society. That inner tension expressed itself through reactivity, political radicalism, and intensity towards life that marked his early years. Beneath it all was an ever present longing, a yearning, for resolution, for union, for home. A turning point came when Avikal encountered Tantra, the Supreme Understanding, a book by Osho. Reading it sparked the beginning of a deep love affair with Osho. Yet it took him 7 years to reach the master's commune, years shaped by inner resistance, especially to the idea of accepting anyone as his guru. When he finally arrived, his journey with Osho unfolded in many dimensions. Avikal served as Osho's personal photographer, and also he captured many intimate moments during his discourses. He also worked as a guard at Lao Tzu House, where Osho lived. Trained in the Oriental martial art of Aikido, Avikal later became director of Osho's School of Zen Martial Arts, a role appointed to him by Osho himself. Avikal's life has been a story of meditation, integrating meditation, presence, and the warrior's path into a living practice. Today, we explore this extraordinary journey from separation to surrender, from rebellion to devotion, from intensity to presence. So, please welcome Avikal. Hello.
Oh, Radha, thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, I wanted to summarize whatever I felt while reading your book.
Okay, good, good. So, hello, everybody.
Let's begin. My first question to you, Avigal, is with the kind of awareness you grew up as a child, it's not an everyday thing. Um, and usually when people I've observed that with many celebrities like and actors who have that kind of awareness, when they enter a room, they feel the presence, they feel um, densities and all those things. They usually follow a path of power, popularity, fame, money. You kind of went the other route.
I
uh,
did.
what was it? Like, it's usually easier, right, to build a life in the world with this kind of awareness and be very successful. But you went into the path of self discovery. Can you talk more about that?
Yes. So, I always loved to be by myself. Since I was a very small child, I had this joy to be alone, to be playing with myself, my little toys, and I was private, and I liked also to stay in rooms that were not too, the light was not too strong, there was some sort of shadow. So there was from the very beginning something that tended to go internally and relax within myself and find joy in being by myself. Uh, so for when I was a child, basically my challenge was actually to be with people because I didn't particularly like the sense of pressure that was coming with being with people and being available and performing, proving, showing up, and all this kind of stuff. However, at the same time, I was born in Sicily. Sicily is an island and it's an incredible, powerful place. Very contradictory. In Sicily, there is the highest and still alive biggest volcano in Europe. And the ocean is deep and all around, and the internal structure of the island is mountains, which can be sometimes pretty high and also very dry. So somehow I grew up with these two poles, something inside which was very tender and intimate and soft and sensitive, and in the same time around me there was a lot of intensity, a lot of intensity in nature, a lot of intensity in society. I Even though I grew up in a kind of wealthy family, I grew up in the streets. I grew up in the streets with the bands of kids, and and it was at the same time very beautiful, exciting, and with a lot of sense of community, and sometimes extremely challenging. So I felt from the very beginning this paradoxical polarity within myself of expansions and strengths and intensity on one side, on the other side, softness, a little bit melancholy, uh, tenderness, vulnerability. So this is something that I carried through my teenagers, and in a way, at some point, like around, I remember probably around 13 or 14 years old, these two poles started really nurturing each other. Uh, they didn't feel like opposite to each other. They felt like simply two different aspects of who I was. So my internal feeling was like, wait a minute, I'm not two things. I am all of these things. And that's where something started really landing. I am all of it. And yeah, and then, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You do realize this is not what normally a lot of kids go through, right? You
sorry.
you do realize this is what not a lot of kids feel. Do you think it?
I don't know. I guess not.
Yeah,
You
you
see,
must.
I want to add one thing, because that's also something that really might help me to understand. I grew up also in a family where my grandfather was a very wise man. And I remember sitting in front of his armchair, and he had a studio that was completely packed with books everywhere. Every single wall was made of books of incredible authors from all over the world. And right on the little table next to his chair, there were two Buddhas. One was a little black Chinese Buddha with a big belly and a big smile all around, and the other one was the classic Indian Buddhas. So I grew up in a way sitting there, and of course I didn't know anything about Buddha, but somehow something was landing.
Hmm.
Something was kind of. So yes, I feel I've been extremely blessed
Yeah.
by growing up in a very supportive, very open, very nurturing environment. Definitely.
I also feel from from your story, because I read the chapter on Banaras when you went to India and you felt right at home, and there were some past life memories that flashed for you. um, I feel like you choose your family too, if you know what I mean. So for whatever growth you need and all those things. So it seems like you did carry some of your. That's my
Sure.
reading.
I don't know about this thing. I don't have hypotheses about how we choose or not choose. In a way, I feel that life chooses for us.
True.
Life says, well, perhaps you are ready to step into this environment because
Mm.
you managed already few things in the lane before.
Yeah.
So now this is the new place where you can practice being who you are.
Yeah, but you have to be extremely open for this, right? For life to choose for you. Sometimes you other. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I guess, like I'm not, I don't go much into this past life, future life. It's not my story. My story is I'm here. I'm embodied in this body. This is where I am right now. I'm not accidental. So let me make the most out of the fact that I'm existing right in this moment.
That's great. My next question to you.
Yes.
Um, I've seen your pictures. You're a photographer,
Yeah.
and you write. You have written beautiful books, lots of them. Um, you see beauty in nature, and you have an eye for it. What do you find beautiful in human beings?
What I find beautiful in human beings is this coming together of something which is eternal, which is presence, and how that eternal presence manifests in a completely unique form. So each individual at the same time is uniquely herself or himself. So it's absolutely incomparable, and yet at the same time there is something that is universal, and that traditionally, it's kind of expressed through the symbol of the cross. The cross is the horizontal line of time and space where we become and we keep becoming every single moment, like my hand moving, now and now. And then the vertical of eternity, which is beyond time and space, where we are everything that exists each second, each split nanosecond. Yeah. And that's fascinating.
Mm.
Because every time, I mean, I can't say probably every time, but very often when I meet people, I see that point where there is a cross, and where they are, and I experience both these dimensions in themselves and of course in myself when I meet them. And there, I think that point in the traditional Christian tradition is the point of resurrection, is the point where we continuously resurrect to the new that is existing right in this moment.
Mm.
This beautiful. This is fascinating. Sometimes can be a little bit maddening because I might see the beauty, but I might not really understand. but
True.
but the beauty is mind blowing, definitely.
Mm.
And I'm lucky because I facilitate this particular retreat, which is the Satori retreat, which is exactly about that. Is about asking fundamental questions that, like, who am I, who is in, what is love, what is freedom, what is beauty, that at some point inevitably take you exactly to that point. If you put all your attention and energy and love in there, you reach that place. So for me, it's like, wow, when I see it, it's like, oh my God, what a gift, to be able to witness this. So yeah, and that's beauty.
But when someone can see beauty clearly, they also see what's not beautiful also very clearly. It has to be. Otherwise, it would be incomplete.
Of course, but see, it is, but again, it's a polarity. Is not a duality. A
Mm.
polarity means that there is a kind of spiral, not spiral, but like a number eight, infinite, where beauty and what we would consider not beauty. But how can we call something not beautiful? What are the criteria? The criteria go in the personality. The criteria go in judgment. The criteria are found in comparison. Otherwise, there is nothing that is not beautiful. Everything is beautiful because everything is God. Like, now, from one perspective, see, in Napoli, there is a very sweet saying. O scarrafone è bello a mamma sua. That means the cockroach is beautiful to his mother.
Yeah.
You see, so it's like, wait a minute, how can it, what are the definitions? Beauty is not an idea. Beauty is not a concept. Beauty is an experience, and I can find beauty in anything if I open my eyes to all of it without judgment. Look at children. Children look at their shit and they say, "Wow, look at that! That's so fantastic." For example, because they don't have that mind.
Yeah. For me, the way I see it is there's power and then there's beauty. Like if you look at Epstein files or things that happen in the world, I find it hard to see any beauty in it, or accept it. But it's power. It's it's ugly power, and
Okay.
power gone in a different way. Power can be beautiful too, but it most of the times can go very tangent. And I happen to I try to, because when you say these things, you probably are enlightened, so you could see beauty in everything. But a person like me, it's hard to see beauty in everything when so much is happening, and the mind distinguishes, so
Okay, so let me get into that because there is a step that might help. One of the things that I share with people and I teach also is that everybody is right. What does it mean? It means that from each individual perspective, everybody is right. Because from each individual perspective, there is a particular experience of a relative truth. Now, do I need to agree with that? No, I don't. But at the same time, I can take away that wall, that separation, that concept that says there are things that I believe that are right, and there are things that I rather believe that they're not right. Instead, I say, no, what I feel, what I experience from my perspective is right. What you experience from your perspective is right. Do I need to agree? No. Can I fight against it? Yes, definitely. At the same time, that fundamental place of separation is dissolved.
mm,
And in that dissolution, I can start seeing also that from that perspective, if I believe, if I know more than believe, if I know that truth is all there is, that God is all there is, then beauty is also is all there is. Uh,
let's go to your puberty. I found that interesting, the way you had put it. When you were, say, around 14 or 15, I'm not sure, you said it was during your puberty age, you had vaginal envy. Not many men have openly accepted it, or have felt it. They might subconsciously know feel it, but openly it's not been spoken. Can you tell me, talk about it? The You've already spoken in your book, but for the
yeah,
podcast.
yeah. I don't know if I would use the word vaginal envy, but I would use definitely the expression vaginal devotion, in the sense that since I was very small, for whatever reason, which I can hardly remember, I have been in touch with Kali. In fact, I still wear Kali, this one, around my neck. So since I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old, for whatever reason, Kali appeared in my life. And I felt attracted, I felt connected, I felt that there was something there that was definitely in tune. So as I grew up and I started having some sort of interaction with the female body, I realized that I had actually a devotional. There was something that was curious, devoted, open to the genital of the woman, and I just basically started feeling that there was something there that was a fundamental aspect of the mystery of existence. And this was not rational, this was not logical, this was actually quite strange, but in a way it felt really so clearly coming from my belly, from my heart, even more than from my genitals, mostly from my belly. There was something that was really relaxing in that devotion. And so I started kind of exploring this devotion with first girls and then women that I met. And I was lucky enough to, and possibly intelligent enough to approach women that were available, that were willing to go into a journey, a devotional journey with me. And little by little, it started kind of evolving, and yeah, and it's still here.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but I remember distinctly you say in the book, probably for a small phase of time, you went through vaginal envy and you wanted to prove that you are as good or equal to a
Oh,
woman.
in that sense, yes. In
Yeah.
that sense, yes.
And I want to touch that because what you said is a very matured aspect, but where most men start is the envy part, and where all the suppression and control comes is the envy part. And it has surprised me even in my own life that women are completely unaware of their own power. uh,
Uh-huh.
so that's why I wanted to touch on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, uh, part of that there was, let's say, a part of that devotion was actually in the light, and then there was a part of that devotion that was in the shadow. And the shadow was that I wanted to prove, yeah, to myself and to the woman I was with, that I was capable of holding a space for them and for myself. So I think I was 14 or 15 years old when I read the Kama Sutra, and then also a Latin poet, Ovidius, which talked the arts of love. So I started kind of how to say, exploring also intellectually certain concepts and certain ideas, and then see how can I actually apply them so that I can have a relation with a woman where there is power, intensity, beauty, satisfaction. And for me, it was very clear that reading both the Kama Sutra and Ovidius, that one of my responsibilities or jobs, if you want, was to actually not being egoistic with the woman. I was very lucky. I was very lucky because the first woman that I really fell in love with, and I was 19 and she was just turning, I think, 17 and something, for a couple of years younger than me. She was very powerful.
Mm.
She was very powerful. She was very straight, very direct. There was no holding back. And so I found myself a couple of times in situations where she put me completely on the edge, completely on the spot. And I remember in particular one situation where she told me straight in details how a couple of nights before she had sex with somebody else, and we were just starting. And I found myself to that place where I could go into reactivity, past, jealousy, judgment, or I could love her. And I realized I love her. I'm not going to go into jealousy and tell her you're wrong, you're bad, you should not. No, I'm going to love her because I want to be with her. So I consciously chose to let go of my bullshit and to actually take the challenge and says, yeah, you are a free woman. I'm a free man. We are together because we love each other and we want to be together, but there is no chain.
Mm.
And that was one of the most fantastic choices I made in my life because we stayed together for 4 years. We went away from our families. We went to live in Florence together. No, it was just wonderful.
Mm.
I needed that power from her.
Mm.
And I was lucky that she had it and that
Mm.
she had courage to actually say, you know what, take this. Let's see what you do.
I'm glad you chose to stay with your heart. Yeah.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think most men would just it's too much for their ego to handle. They would escape it.
Yeah, yeah, possibly, yeah. But for
Yeah.
me, it was very clear that actually, I don't think I spent more than 30 seconds in that choice. It was like, okay, it is this or that. There is no middle ground.
Was that also the enticing part that she was with someone else and it kind of makes you a little competitive or jealous and that pulls you towards? No.
Not at
Okay.
all. Not at all. I did it. For me, I erased completely. There was no question. I didn't care at all about what had happened with the other guy.
Yeah, I would love for a lot of men to listen to this interview, honestly, because I don't see that today's men, they are evolved. The species are evolving, no
Yeah.
doubt about it. But yeah, I still don't, I don't see men owning, giving that space where the power of a woman is explored, and not only sexually, in
No.
every which way, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's usually the collective of the masculine is so huge that I have been in rooms in corporate settings where the women had to say something, but they usually keep quiet because it's better, it's safer, you know.
Yes. It
But
is.
okay.
It is unless they are given an opportunity. I've been working a lot with the top manager of big companies a few years ago, like 10 or 15 years ago. And one of the exercises that I would do, and they would often come with their secretary in the group. So I would find, the big boss and the secretary. And what I would do, I would do some exercise with wooden swords. So I would put the people one in front of each other with the swords facing each other like this with the sword right on your face. And it was amazing
Mm.
because 90% of the times the secretary, and they could not talk, so there was no way to interfere with each other. The secretary was much more powerful than the boss and was very clear energetically.
Mm.
at that point, because they had the permission to actually, not only the permission, but the invitation to be powerful.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've seen some quite amazing situations.
I'm glad this work that you're doing continues, and it shouldn't be like, I don't think men should be threatened, because that power is actually to give. A lot of
Sure.
women want to give that power, and it's not to threaten. But for some reason, I've seen it's not only like secretary manager dynamics. I've seen like directors who are better than men in that room, in the power structure, dim their light just so that the collective male doesn't pounce on her and she feels safer. She doesn't want to show that she's better off than them. She wants to like step down and feel like, oh, I'm not going to threaten you, things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
but that's what conditioning is about, self-image, which has to fit in a particular mold.
Yeah.
So
um yes, this is an interesting topic always for me, but we should talk about all the other aspects in your life.
you,
So you're a warrior at heart. From the book that I have read, and also does and then you went into the path. It is a conscious path of surrendering. It's not coming easy to you, but you're consciously exploring it. You're fighting every minute with yourself to
know
go
that
in. Yeah. And I found it fascinating because I come entered in that from the other side. It's surrender, and then I've learned with awareness that you have to learn to say no and draw boundaries to
yes.
protect that softness in you. um, but yours is like the other way. You're like completely a warrior at in the place, and then you're learning how to surrender. Is it still the same for you? Are you still in that process, or you think
No,
that
no, it's done.
are
See,
you glad it's done?
I learned to say no when I was very, very young. Uh, and when I was 10, I remember a particular situation where I made a conscious decision, and I said to myself, I will never compete with anybody else. I'm
Mm.
only compete with myself. So from that moment, my life was basically a pretty much constant place where I would challenge boundaries about myself and about my own experience, about the way I was moving, I was talking, I was working. It was not a conscious thing that I was busy with, was a natural need to actually manifest uniqueness. I didn't know that at that point, but that's what became clear. So then I was involved with politics, like you said. I was a revolutionary. Like my life was on the edge for years and years. And then I also started martial arts. And I started like most young people start with the very rough encountering fighting martial arts, karate, taekwondo, and so on. And then at some point, I realized that actually there was something that needed another level of understanding and embodiment of the warrior spirit, which was not just against something, but was actually about nurturing, the real warrior. And the real warrior is not about fighting. The real warrior is about including, allowing, absorbing.
Mm.
And that's what Aikido is. Aikido means literally the art of peace or the art of harmony. So I was lucky because, again, I went to live in a small village in Italy. And in that small village in Italy, there was one of the first and most famous Aikido teachers in Italy. and he lived just behind my house. So, and the training hall was 10 meters, 15 meters from my house. So for a few years, I was there and I was training with him, and little by little, I learned something which all the Aikido, all the martial art masters know very well, that at some point, if you really want to master a martial art, you need to let go. You need to learn to let go. You need to learn to stop fighting. You need to actually invite whatever energy is coming and allow it to fill you up, to make you bigger, to make you more present, to make you more available.
Mm.
So I remember I got so many hints of this, from my Aikido teacher. Then I met my sword master, and everything was about just simply be present. That's it. There was no other teaching. Just be present right in this moment. Don't have hypotheses, don't have direction, don't go anywhere. Just be exactly where you are, here and now. And that's the spiritual teaching, be here and now. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's martial arts or music or poetry or whatever, or contemplation. Is the fundamental point. So, of course, it's not easy to be here and now when the sword is coming down. However, I learned to see the sword not as a danger, not as something against me, but as an opportunity. An opportunity to actually become even more present. And that's where surrender is. In fact, surrender is simply the recognition that what is what is.
Mm.
And then Osho, I heard Osho saying, surrender is the recognition that you are not. And then, of course, then when everything is what is, and I am not, there is no problem. There is nothing out of sync. Everything is absolutely perfect. And that's something that little by little I started kind of digesting in my day-to-day life, in my relationship, in the work, in the connection, of course, with the master, with the community, and all this kind of stuff.
Mm.
And I was blessed because Osho gave me some very specific direction about surrendering. So I really saw, okay, this is something that I need to really work with and be present with, and not avoid, and that was fantastic.
Yeah,
So
we'll get into the specific directions. I'm not sure if it's the same thing that I'm thinking you're referring to. But would you tell your younger self anything different after you've done? Because your path in
no,
many men I've seen, you include the body. You felt things in your body. The martial arts is very much in the body. So it's not excluding the body, it's the body and the mind together. uh,
absolutely,
and that's why I find that and probably Tantra, of course, Kali with you and all. Tantra is yeah, so it's interesting because I think a lot of people, not only just men, women, they would both identify in their own different ways, because we don't feel ourselves separate from body, no matter how much the contemplation and the meditation tries to say you're not your body, but you are your body too.
of
So
course.
so
Well,
that.
but that's the beautiful part, the capacity to recognize I exist and manifest through the body.
Mhm.
So Buddha says this very body the lotus paradise. Of course, this is the lotus paradise. I am embodied. That's why I can talk, I can feel, I can sense, I can see, I can smell. It's beautiful. At the same time, I'm aware of it because I'm not it. I am the witness of something I exist within. So this is again is the cross, like I'm not that and I am completely that in time and space. And that for me is again it's fascinating, it's beautiful, it's something that is a mystery that keeps unfolding moment after moment.
Yeah.
So yes, and that's why I chose also to do martial arts, because at some point I realized that I was very good in leaving my body. Bye bye, baby, ciao, and go into big spaces. I was very good at that. That's part also my nature, to really move towards big open spaces. But somehow I was not really good at embodying myself. So that's when martial arts came in consciously as part of an embodiment process. And then I went to live in this village in the south of Italy, where there are no roads, only stairs. So I would do sometime 2,000-3,000 stairs a day to go down to the beach and then back to. And I tell you, my legs were like this. My roots, my ground was like. I started feeling so embodied. It felt so good, and I consciously said, "Wait a minute, I need to do that." Why? Because if I'm not embodied, my heart is going to be continuously scared of being hurt. So I want to be in the body so that also my heart can start relaxing, trusting that I am completely present and I
Mm.
don't protect myself against hurt. So it was a very conscious process, that one, definitely.
Can you talk more about it? Is interesting what you said in the end, that if you don't embody, you are more fearful. What is that feeling?
Okay. Uh, what does it actually really mean embodying? If you look at a tree has a part which is visible, which is the trunk, and then there are the roots. The roots live in darkness, and they have to live in darkness. If you take the tree out of the darkness, the tree dies. So for me, the foundation of embodiment is really about recognizing my roots, feeling how whatever is in the shadow is not something to be fearful about, is actually something that nurtures my roots if I can stay in touch with them, if I can allow the darkness, the shadow to be there, if I don't have a judgment, if I don't repress, if I don't push away. So, first of all, my relation with fear, and the fear in particular of what was not allowed, acceptable, good, or beautiful, disappeared little by little by little by just being in my roots, by being grounded. And then, as that sense of completeness started arising, I noticed also that there was a defense on my heart, which I felt like a metal shield. And the metal shield had a very simple image. This one. You don't get in here. Yes. And I said, yeah, of course. I am afraid of being hurt. So I have a shield, I have a defense. And is that all? No, it's not all. There must be something very precious behind that shield that I want to protect. So the shield has two sides, one external, and one internal, which has to do with something that is precious. So I started kind of exploring it through self-inquiry, through talking with my teachers, talking with my partner, and I found something which I already knew subconsciously, which was actually obvious: vulnerability. My relations with vulnerability. And that's when I finally said, you know what, Osho, it's time that I come. And that's when I stopped kind of postponing and waiting. I say, okay, I'm going to go to the ranch and see what happens when I meet the man. And of course, that was not new, that sense of vulnerability, not at all. I knew it since a long time. But to really take the step to recognize that I really needed to be there, honor that, and find out what is this really, this vulnerability, what is about. So that took a specific step, which in that case was like, okay, I go to the ranch and I meet Osho and see what happens.
I'm smiling because, from my perspective, right from the day you become aware of who you are as a woman, as a girl, or a child, whatever, like you know your gender basically, you feel vulnerability all the time. And because you become a mother, you are in relationships, you're always open, and you're always hurt too, and you accept that too. So yeah, it's interesting when a man is talking about how to feel vulnerability when you have felt it all your life.
Yeah.
So, and do you
Well,
do you find that difference when you're with your partners, their path and your, how do you watch that, the difference in how the women in your life have approached, or the friends in your life have approached it? And
well, every path is clearly different and is clearly very specific, very unique, and I don't really have an answer to this question, because for me, as much as it is a mystery, my own path, it is a mystery, the path of the people I meet, and in particular the women I have a relationship, or even my friends. And I'm curious. I'm just curious, and I recognize that if I'm open to my own vulnerability, spontaneously, naturally, I am capable and willing to uh, support and absorb and be nurtured by the vulnerability of the other person. For example, in this moment in my life, me and my partner, we are going through a very powerful time together, and it's been gone for probably 8-9 months. It was really, really intense. There was so many changes, so many places where we would not really uh, merge with each other. We could meet, but then there was some places of separation. And then little by little, by being both more and more vulnerable, more and more compassionate in accepting and letting myself and the other be exactly who they are, uh, a jump is happening. A jump is happening where communication has gone to a completely new place of honesty, sincerity, directness, caring, capacity to really allow the uncertainty also of the moment without trying to put it together and say, okay, this is what I want, this is who I am, and all this kind of stuff. So I just love this continuous interchange, exchange, and the unpredictable unfoldment that happens within myself and with my partner. And this is also happening with other friends. One of the agreements that I have made with some of my male friends, for example, a few years ago, is like, look, we tell each other the truth, no matter what. We like it, we don't like it, we fight, we don't fight. That's not the point. The point is, I tell you exactly what is my truth, you tell me exactly what is your truth, and then we deal with that. But no hiding, no avoiding.
Mm.
Of course, I cannot do it with everybody because some people say you're crazy, but with some people, it's very clear, and it's wonderful.
Mm. Yeah, and you don't have to do it with everyone. Everybody doesn't have to be, yeah. So,
Not at all.
and I would like to mention that you are in a relationship for a long time, right? It's been how many years you said?
26.
26 years. So yeah, it takes sometimes a long time.
When we met, I would never ever imagine that we could be together 26 years. That's like, huh?
That's the beauty, huh, of life. It surprises you everywhere. So,
Yes.
when you were taking pictures with Osho,
Yeah.
you were his personal photographer for some time. Tell me about it. I would love to hear. What was it taking pictures? Was it just a normal, like a job or something
Uh,
more?
Definitely not. Was the end of my career as a photographer. Literally, because after taking pictures of him, I realized there is nothing else that I want to take pictures of.
Hmm.
So when he left the body, and I took some, I mean, I still took some pictures of the ashram and things like that. But then after a while, I felt I'm done. So I sold all my cameras, and now I have just an iPhone. Sometimes I take some pictures with my iPhone just for fun. But that was the end of my career, and also was the gift, because basically I shall I tell you the story?
Yeah, please
Okay.
go ahead.
So 1987, Osho had gone back to Pune, and I had already a ticket to go to Mumbai. So then the night before leaving Italy, I called the center in Miasto in Tuscany, and they told me Osho just went back to Pune. I said, fantastic. So I arrived, got in the bus, and got to Pune. And at that point in Pune, there were probably like 70, 80 people. That's it. And it was great, to be close to Osho. And in this small number, so intimate, every discourse, and I was a guard, so I was sitting with him for in discourse every day, and it was, and also I was working as a photographer and also as a cook. So we were with a friend. They asked us to create a little Italian restaurant, so we did. So at the same time, I could only stay 3 months at that point, so I had to go back to Italy, and in that period, Italians could not have a visa immediately. We had to wait 6 months in between. So I went back to the little village I was living in the south of Italy, and I started waiting for the 6 months to pass, basically. But at the same time, I was creating my first photo book. So I created this photo book, and I published it, and it was really beautiful and successful. And at the same time, one day in my garden, I went out very early in the morning, and I saw that on a big, beautiful green leaf, there was a dewdrop. So I took the picture of the dewdrop on top of the leaf. And so when I went back, that was October 87, I went back to the ashram. I brought the book and the picture of the leaf to Nilam. And Nilam, to give it to Osho as my present. After 3 days, Nilam called me and said, Osho's been keeping the picture of your dewdrop on his bedtime table for the last 3 days, and he sends you this message. He wants you to take a picture of a drop exactly in the moment when it starts falling.
Is it this picture?
Yes, it's that one.
Is it the one he kept at the bedside or the one you took after he told you that it should?
This is the one that he kept close to his bed.
Okay.
So
Do
then
you
I
have the one where you took it when he said it should be exactly?
thought, I gave it to the ashram, they have it. So I said, oh my God, okay, how do I take a picture of the drop exactly in the moment when it starts falling? Because it's so fast that the finger. So I started kind of, okay, I can use a laser beam or whatever, but of course, India, 1987, laser beams, forget it. So then at that point, I realized that definitely there was something much bigger than taking the picture for me to deal with. And basically, what it triggered, what it touched in me was the fact that there is an happening between the leaf and the drop. They are completely together. There is no separation. They are merged. They are one reality. And then at some point, a separation starts happening. So the question for me was, okay, separation. How do I deal with separation? And I realized, well, my way of dealing with separation is the old warrior style separation. Cut it, bye. Yeah. I said, something is not, what am I avoiding? Oh, look, I'm avoiding my vulnerability. I'm avoiding the fact that when there is separation, I start feeling vulnerable. And so to avoid my vulnerability, I just chop it off and bye-bye, gone. So that realization opened up to really wanting to get in there. So what I did is, because I was a guard in his house, I asked my coordinator to give me a particular shift, which was the night shift. So from midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning, so that I could sit in his garden. And around 5, 6 o'clock in the morning was a symphony, of drops falling from from the leaves, after the evening, after the night. And then one day, finally, I saw it. I saw that, like two lovers, the drop and the leaf, when they start separating, they start trembling together. That trembling is the merging that starts going back into individuality. So instead of being completely fused, merged with each other, they kind of find their own unique existence. So then it was easy, because I basically was able to see the trembling, click, and then take the picture. And so I did. I took few, and then I had them developed. And usually at that time, it used to take 1 or 2 weeks. And then I gave it back to Nilam, and Nilam brought it to Osho. And the next day, she called me and said, Osho would like you to take pictures of him. So that was my gift. So I said, oh, okay.
You're saying, yeah, you understood the assignment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and then the old story and the relation with the photography and him began, and went on till he left the body. So it was like, and of course, in that also was a reason why at some point, after a couple of months, I decided I'm not going to stay in Italy. I'm going to live in Pune. So I left completely Italy and moved to Pune, and then was like 15 years.
Yeah. It's a
Yes.
beautiful story, Avikal, because I feel, you know what I get from this story. Different people will get different things. I feel like when a masculine energy decides to be a lover, I think they could be a better lover than women. Um, I don't know, but I feel that from this story because when you're so scared of that pain and you're protecting so much, that means you want it so much too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a beautiful story with the with Osho, with your guru, and how he opens your heart.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
one, probably the last question, and then we play like a fun game.
Okay.
What is your most important thing you would say to the new generation who's finding Osho?
I have no clue, because for me, Osho found me. I didn't really find him. So in a way, uh,
Let him find you.
yeah, let him find you, and if you need to resist, resist. If you need to postpone, postpone. Don't have any particular idea how it should happen, because it won't happen how it should happen. It will happen. It happen. So it's really like, for me, I remember Osho saying that usually someone becomes a disciple because of love for the master, love for the truth, love for the commune. For me, it was definitely love for the truth. Then it became love for Osho, and much later it became love for the commune. So each way is completely individual, personal. It's like I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I like I think what came out because the way I think I shouldn't say I found Osho, he found me. So that's actually his way. He comes into your life
Yeah,
very unannounced
yeah.
and then completely takes over everything.
Yeah.
um, so yesterday night when I was thinking about what to ask you, and I had this little game that came up in my mind. I played once with Bodhichitta, and you're the second one I'm playing with. And some reason these are the words. So I'll just ask you a word, and whatever pops up in your head, let me know.
Okay.
Okay, just immediate, like, you know.
So you tell me a word, and you
Yeah.
want to me to say another word.
No, say whatever comes in your head with that word. Say if I
Oh,
say sky, whatever comes in your mind,
okay.
you
Yeah.
know, things like
Okay.
that.
Yes.
Okay, let's start the game. Perfect.
Already is.
Okay. Presence,
That's who we are.
past life,
I don't care.
passion,
Passion. Passion is the fire in my belly.
purity,
When the fire doesn't go anywhere in particular.
hmm, persona,
Persona is a mask and an opportunity to actually survive in an intelligent way.
prayer. Come on.
Alive, being alive.
Hmm. Player.
Player, yeah, well, the joy of not knowing.
Mhm. Yeah, so this is, I don't know why, but all the words with P just came into my, like, and as you said, it was like late in the night and they just popped into my head. And I was like, okay, let me ask him that. So, yeah, with this fun little game, let's just conclude our interview. I loved talking with you. This was very enriching for me.
Thank
You
you.
have your own unique understanding of how you were with Osho in your own life.
Yes.
Um, and I'm sure you're passing it all along through your Satori retreats and your intensive. I'm going to put up your website for people to know
Yeah.
where to find you
Yeah.
and the different retreats that you have going on. If you want to give a small detail, like tell us a little bit where your retreats are and
Okay. So my retreats at this point, I'm really cutting down a lot my going to Europe because I don't want to work so much away from home. So I have some stuff going on in Italy, in Croatia, and in Bulgaria.
you can find it all on your website.
They can find all on the website.
Yes.
But the main part that I'm really passionate about is the work I do in Osho Nisarga, in Dharamshala. And there I go twice a year, usually in May, in May and November. And in November, I have done, and I keep doing every year, a Satori retreat. And then I do a lot of what's called essence work, the dimension of being. And I started training for facilitator this year in May in 3 modules. So there you can find everything. And then I start also a series of groups, which is going to be 3 groups called the Dimensions of Love, where I approach basically the relating between man and woman. Actually, not only men and women, also men and women, because love, whatever in whatever way it manifests,
Mhm.
And how can we relate with each other, going beyond the separation and the conflict, and the idea that because we are different, we cannot really merge because it's not. So, and I'm very excited about it, to start the first one. The first one is going to be really about polarity, communication, and what I call radical candor, the capacity to really be candid and open with each other.
Mhm.
And we can do that as we do it within, because within, I'm not only a man, I'm also a woman. So if I bring these things together inside of me, it's much easier to bring it also. And Kali is always helping me.
I'm so happy you're doing this work because I feel like this is somewhere a lot of people will benefit from your experiences of having both the polarities and then recognizing them and then merging. So I'm glad you're doing this.
Me
And
too.
with that, I'm going to say thank you and see you next time.
Thank you, dear.
There will be a small video playing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Fear is a dove that has no dwelling. The voice that calms the sea is the same one telling me to stay. Marching for him, the general paved the way. If he is forced, I'll never go astray. Set me free. It's the mark. It's the kingdom. God in the vanguard. My destiny is written. My faith ain't hype. My faith is the foundation. Why the one panics? I'm a holy nation. Focus on the high.